So here is our first question. Can I have somebody loud and proud read it? Let's see, who's brave? Yes.
Describe a time you encountered a rule or practice in an organization that made no sense. What did you do in response?
Excellent. 4 minutes starts now. Here is our next question. Get excited. Name a mistake you've made as a teacher. Why was this a mistake? So thinking about it, the fact that they said mistake twice, we want it to be a real mistake, not something disguised as something that you're awesome at, okay? So take 2 minutes each to answer the question. The 4 minutes will start now. In thinking about this question, and again, we'll reflect on it more fully at the end, I want you to challenge yourself and see if this really was a mistake that you shared this first go around, or if there's something that if you're really thinking about it, maybe you would have shared, and then thinking through how you would do that, right? So when I first started answering this question or something like it, I picked something like really high level, right? That like, you know, I should have given my referral directly to the dean, rather than going into the deeper issues that I was having a behavioral issue with a particular student, and really thinking about why that was a mistake and how reflecting on that improved my practice. Okay, so just for personal reflection, challenge yourself to have a really meaningful mistake, because your interviewer will know the difference. All right, scenarios, my favorite. Tell me about a time, a tough situation you encountered with a student. What was it? How did you resolve it? And then a follow-up question that they might ask to that is, if you could go back in time, what would you do differently? All right, so 2 minutes each. The 4 minutes is going to start now. So this was a pretty meaty question. It's important, again, that it's as genuine as possible, and that you're really thinking through ways that you were able to resolve it, or ways that you at least got it better than it was, okay? And working through those emotions and getting through how fresh some of this is going to be really key. So I've talked to some teachers who clearly are working through some feelings of teacher burnout, right? And not feeling like maybe that this is the right fit, or being burnt out at their current school and thinking that the next school is going to magically solve something. And this is one way that we would get around those questions, is ask questions about difficult situations. So really processing and practicing those is going to be really important. Okay. Looking at the next question. So we just had a downer. Let's cheer up a little bit. What is the most significant team accomplishment of your career? So it seems like this question was a little challenging for some of us. For those of us that were here from the beginning, when Kenny had mentioned how teaching is really collaborative now, that's what this question is getting at, like how well you'll work with others. If we ask directly, like, how do you work well with others? Everyone always says, I have no problem with anyone. Okay, you must be a joy, right? But everyone I know has a problem, at least somewhat, with someone. So we flip it and ask about accomplishments and how you work together, okay? So it's not your accomplishment, it's how you work together as a team. All right?
Question about that.
Sure.
We're kind of struggling with that question because we don't have an experience with the teacher team.
Yep.
But I was like trying to find an example that when we did a group project in grad school, can I say
Yep.
that?
Yeah, I think that's great. Work projects that way are great. Previous work, if you were at a summer camp, whatever it was where you work together as a team, that's totally fine. Okay. All right. So how do you measure whether students understand what you're teaching, and what do you do with that information? There was one time where I asked a similar question around assessment, and the gentleman told me he has the students write their names on the paper. Awesome. But I want to know something more. So chat with your friend, and we'll come back together in 4 minutes. Next question, which is, what is your vision for your classroom culture? And how would you begin to establish that culture during the first 2 weeks of the school year? Okay. Fun topic, especially if you're interviewing over the summer. And we'll go to the next question, which is, if you walked into your classroom on a typical day, what would I see and hear? The 4 minutes is going to start now. Here we go. Our next question. What are 3 words you would use to describe yourself and why? And what are 3 words your current manager would use to describe you and why? Another potential follow-up question to this one is also, how do you know what your manager would say about you? So just thinking through some evidence to back up that claim, because I know that everyone here is absolutely, perfect and has perfect performance reviews, but that why question I've seen people really stammer on, so making sure that you have that identified. All right, and then this is what we're going to end on. What was the last book you read? Did you enjoy it? I messed this question up so bad on one of my first interviews, so I just always like to include it. So talk it through. We're going to give 2 minutes for this one. It's rather straightforward. So all of the questions are posted on the blog. So if you go to getselected.com, there's a link to the blog. You can go back just a couple of entries. You'll see questions. We have about 10 more questions in addition to the one that we went through this evening that you can think through, some of which I submitted, some other schools submitted, some which Dr. Google submitted to put them together. We tried to just create an array of topics. Okay, so in terms of reflecting, can we again see with a thumb up, a thumb to the side, or thumb down, how many people feel more prepared for an interview than you did 2.5 hours ago? Okay, I see some confident thumbs up and smiles. So this is my lucky day. Excellent job. If you need more practice, which we all do, right? Because who knows what they're going to ask us, right? They can ask us all sorts of crazy questions. The point is to really just practice and then identify those topics that you know that they're going to get at, okay? So identifying a genuine challenge, identifying something that you failed at or didn't do quite well enough, okay? What skills do you bring to the job? Those big categories that these questions represent are what's really important so that you're ready to go. Okay, that's how you're going to build the confidence. That's how then you're going to be invited in for the demo lesson. That's how you're going to knock that demo lesson out of the park because you're so well prepared for it. And that's how you're going to end up at the school of your dreams. Okay, so all our work is done. No. You'll come back hopefully tomorrow to see my friend Samson, who is going to help you with some sessions. I'm putting Samson on the spot. He's not even standing. He's waving a hand. Thank you, Samson. Any big questions that we could answer for the group in the next 3 minutes or so before our tummies start rumbling? No? Yes? Yep. Totally fine. The only non-answer, which is the answer that I gave, was I couldn't think of a book. They were hiring me to teach English to middle school students, and I could not think of a book. So it actually doesn't matter if you say that you just read Twilight or if you just read, Da Vinci's Code or whatever you're reading. The point is just that you're a human being who's reading, right? So that's the right answer. The wrong answer is freezing. So if you're really pumped about that graphic novel, cool, share it. They just want to see what gets you excited. Okay? Anything else?
Pretty similar to what one of the questions that asked that if I enter your classroom, what will I see? So I didn't want it to sound too mannequin or robotic.
Yeah.
I can say that it depends on the day, it depends what the situation is, because there can be so many things that go on.
Yep, and that's totally fine. And then I think just making it specific and saying, if you came in during guided reading, this is what you would see. If you came in during science, this is what you would see. Yep, that's totally fine. Anything else? All right, this was really fun. I really appreciate the opportunity to present to you. I hope that you'll check out Samson tomorrow and have a good rest of the evening. Thank you. Thanks.